Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is all about the Sony a7 IV. Now, if you're anyone like myself, you have patiently, or maybe not patiently, been waiting for this camera now for months, and I'm so excited to get my hands on this thing and really try it out. Now, in this video, we're obviously going to unbox this thing and see what's actually inside, but more importantly, I want to talk to you guys about why I decided to pick this camera up for myself. Is it replacing my camera? Is it in addition? And also, I want to talk about who I think this camera is perfect for, because it's definitely not the camera for everybody out there, but I think it is going to be amazing for a wide variety of different types of creators. So sit back, relax. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, be sure to drop it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. You don't want to miss any future content about this, but let's go ahead and hop right into this. I mean, look at this beautiful camera. This thing is honestly so sick. I have seriously been so excited to finally test this thing out, and I love the camera design of this camera right here. In case you guys didn't know, or maybe you're new to this channel, I actually am filming on the Sony FX3 right now. And although the internals are basically the exact same as the a7S III, it is different on the outside. So I love the way that Sony cameras look, and I'm really excited to kind of have this in my arsenal as well, because if you guys didn't know, I love posting content over on Instagram, and I just love the aesthetic of this camera as well as the FX3, so it's gonna be nice to kind of have both things that I can shoot some content with and of, honestly. So in the box, we have obviously the camera body. It comes with one battery, and then oddly enough, it actually came with a little power brick, a USB-C charger, but it doesn't come with an actual battery charger like previous Sony cameras. So on the previous Sonys, like the FX3, it comes with, you know, your normal battery charger. This doesn't come with that, which is interesting. So actually, I don't really mind too much because I don't use that single battery charger that comes with the other Sony cameras. I actually picked up this battery charger off of Amazon. I'll have it linked down in the description below. But it's a dual battery charger, it's USB-C, and honestly, it's just great to have this thing plugged in and have multiple batteries charged at all times. So I prefer this anyways, but I do think it's interesting they didn't include that in this box. But that's pretty much it for what comes inside the box. You have the power brick, the cord, the camera body itself, which is amazing. We're gonna dive into that more in a second, trust me. The battery, and then the camera strap, which honestly, I am team no camera strap. Let me know what you guys are down in the comments below. Team camera strap or team no camera strap. So let's take a quick moment to just be in awe of the beauty of this camera right here. Now it has basically the same body design as the Sony a7S III. There's just a couple differences. One is you have this new dial so you can have custom modes for both photo and video, which is a really, really nice touch. I will say one thing that I'm stoked about with Sony is it seems like they really listen to feedback on each camera that comes out. So for every new camera that comes out, it seems like they fix little things that was a problem in the past ones. So love that about Sony. Obviously, we have the flip out screen, which has now just become the norm for most cameras these days. And I love the flip out screen for both photo and video. I know some people think the flip out screen is only for people that shoot vlogs, and although I do that sometimes on this channel, even if I'm doing like flat lay photography, or you know, I'm doing a lot of short form vertical content over on Instagram these days, and actually I'm gonna be starting to on TikTok as well. This just comes in handy so often to just be able to take a quick look at what I'm doing. And I know you can hook up an external monitor, no problem, but if you're trying to do something quickly, it's nothing too crazy, this is plenty right here. So flip out screen, amazing touch. I'm really glad they had it on this camera. And honestly, that's one of my biggest gripes about the Sony A1. As far as ports go, you got your full size HDMI, which is amazing. You know, your headphone jack, mic input, USB-C, pretty much just the standard these days. And again, it's really nice that they kind of bring a lot of these great things to the newer cameras if they're successful in the past ones as well. But that's really it as far as the body goes. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of content about this camera already now. So I want to, actually before we do that, let's put this brand new 50-1.2, this beautiful lens I just picked up. I can't wait to make some more content with this. And I actually picked this lens up just last week knowing that the Sony a7 IV was coming in. But let's throw this on there just to see what it looks like, because I think this is going to be a killer combo. I mean, come on now. This thing looks incredible. Look at that. Wow. This thing looks so sick. So let's talk a little bit about why I decided to pick up the Sony a7 IV for myself, because as I mentioned, I'm currently filming on the Sony FX3 right now, which is an absolute beast of a camera. It's seriously one of my favorite cameras I have ever used. So really previously I had the Canon R5, which was a really good hybrid camera. It was great at photography, and it was also pretty damn good at video as well. Obviously it has some drawbacks with that. I think we all know that by now, but that's actually one of the main reasons I decided to switch over to Sony. One was because I wanted two dedicated cameras so I could have two angles for some of the video stuff I'm shooting, but also I wanted to have two different camera bodies, one that was more video dominant and one that was more photo dominant. And in a pinch, either camera body could do the other job if necessary. So can I shoot photos on the FX3? Yes. Is it the best camera to shoot photography with? No. You can't shoot crazy high frames with the FX3, and then obviously I don't even have an EVF on it, but it's actually totally fine for social photography in my opinion. It looks great even with heavy crops. I actually have an entire video dedicated to me using the FX3 for photography, so you guys can check it out. I'll have it linked up here. So you can take photos, but it's just not the best camera for that. So with me knowing that I was going to pick up a second camera body at some point, it made sense for me to get kind of a hybrid camera. I wanted a camera that could be my B cam for my video work, but also I want it to be my photo dominant camera. I do photography for clients, but more and more these days, I do photography for myself and my own personal brand, channel, social medias, etc. So it is important to have just a photo dedicated camera most of the time. And whenever I need two angles for video, this can also be used for that as well. So by now, I'm sure you guys know the specs of the a7 IV because I think everyone's hyped about them, but I just want to briefly talk about the ones that excite me. So the 33 megapixels on this is the perfect sweet spot for photography. It's more than plenty for any type of web photography, for whether it be social media or websites, whatever that is, but it's also not so gigantic that it is a huge pain, because recently I actually just used the Sony a7R IV over the weekend for a photo gig, and the file sizes on that are gigantic. It's what, like 62 megapixels? So the files are huge. It's gonna be harder on your computer, and especially if you're trying to do any quick edits or social media edits real quick, like I do sometimes for my Instagram page, it's just really big file sizes that aren't needed. So 33, it's a sweet spot for pretty much most people out there. So I think it's safe to say that the photography out of this camera is going to be amazing, but the video side is actually really exciting as well. So you're gonna be able to shoot 4K 10-bit 422, which looks absolutely amazing. And a really nice thing is that they actually added in S-Cinetone and S-Log3 into this camera as well. And I shoot all my content in S-Log3. It's just what I prefer. You get a really nice dynamic range, and I think it has a good look to it. Let me know if you guys like it. And I actually sell a LUT for the S-Log3. It's available in my digital store. Link down in the description below. It's called the Jayhawk S-Log3 LUT. I know that's a pretty creative name. It's the only thing I could come up with, but it looks amazing. I love it, and I slap that on top of all my S-Log3 footage that I film here in my office, and I think it looks pretty good. Now, a lot of the other specs are actually pretty similar to the Sony a7S III. It's gonna be killer in low light. It's gonna have really nice detail. It's gonna have good stabilization, and I personally plan on using this camera mostly for 4K 24 frames per second. So for me, it is perfect on the video side of things. The one downside that a lot of people are upset about with this camera is that the 4K 60 frames per second is cropped. So it's not full frame, it's gonna crop in quite a bit. And although some people are really frustrated with that, you have to keep in mind, not only is this camera coming in at, in my opinion, a budget price for a really high quality video camera and high quality photo camera, really the only reason why you'd get the Sony a7S III over this camera for video is to have that uncropped 60 frames per second and 4K 120 frames per second as well. And although I think 120 looks amazing, it's not used in the everyday world, at least not as common. 4K 60 I think is used very often. I know I use it all the time. So I think if they put 4K 60 uncropped in this camera, no one would be reaching for the Sony a7S III anymore. So they don't want to kill off that brand new flagship video camera for them. But also there could be things such as, you know, this is a higher megapixel and they don't want this camera to overheat or have things like that, because you have to keep in mind this camera is a different price point as those other ones. So they can't just put every killer feature in this camera like they do some of the other ones with this price tag. It just doesn't make sense. And there's probably different parts and all sorts of things going into this camera that makes it a little bit different. If you want an absolute insane beast of a camera that is amazing at video and amazing at photo, you can do it. You're just gonna pay the price, and that's gonna be the Sony A1. I myself, in my workflow, I prefer to have two camera bodies, like I mentioned before, one that is more photo dominant and one that is more video dominant. And in a pinch, either one could do the other job. So that's why I think personally the Sony FX3 or the A7S III, along with the Sony A7 IV, is the perfect 1-2 punch. So hopefully that all makes sense. I do think the A7 IV is gonna be one of the most popular cameras that we're gonna see over the next couple of years. I mean, this thing is going to sell like crazy, especially at the price and the type of content that you can produce with this camera for both photo and video. And I'm really excited to see what people make with this thing. So I personally think if you're someone that's in the market for a photo camera that you can also shoot some video with, I think this is the camera for you. Or maybe you do a lot of video work, but you just don't really do the off speeds or the slow motion stuff at all. In that case, this camera would be perfect. And even if you are in the pinch and you want to shoot some 60 frames per second, it's just going to be crops. So you can work around that. And if you're not doing video all the time, that is no problem at all. You just have to keep that in mind when you're filming. But guys, that's really my thoughts on the new Sony A7 IV. I can't believe I finally actually have it in my hands. I've been waiting for this thing, and I can't wait to just start shooting with it and really kind of test this thing out. So let me know down in the comments below what type of content you guys want to see about this camera. I'll be getting started on that literally tonight. And yeah, I'm just excited to kind of get this thing going and see what I can make with this, because I have pretty high hopes. So that is gonna be it for me today, guys. If you did enjoy today's video, will you please drop it a thumbs up? If you're new around here, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next video very, very soon. Peace, guys.